Boom, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Dream Chasers, your home for house music. Yes, we have rebranded. This is the first official interview on Dream Chasers with that tagline. So I'm pumped to have a killer DJ and producer on the show with us here today. But before I do that, I want to give a special mention, a special shout out to our sponsor, Lieberland. You can go to lieberland.org for more information. In fact, I happen to be the host of the Lieberland Show, a different podcast as well. So we're going to go ahead and dual host this interview. But the main focus today is Dream Chasers. Again, your home for house music. So Costa, good to have you back on the show. I know we got to know
Thank
each other. We got to know each other pretty well actually over like the last 6 months now. There's
yeah,
a lot of people from within the Tool Room Academy and Tool Room, just really Tool Room record circle that I've gravitated towards and built friendships and relationships with. And I can't believe we haven't met face to face yet. I know that day is going to come.
yeah,
But it's been cool to be featured on not one, but two Leaders of the New School
yeah,
compilations with you. I'm guilty of it, and I'm sure you probably are sometimes too. Like we're pretty lucky to
yeah,
have been on both of those, you know. And I know because of that, we're hungry for more, right? We want to get on
yeah,
tour tracks, we want to get on the main.
exactly.
And I know we've been, we'll tease it out here for everyone. You and I have been working on some cool things in the background, but that's enough out of me, man. Just want you to kind of share a little bit about your, how you got to where you're at. Because I know we touched on it last time we spoke, but your journey, you've been putting in the work for a lot longer than I have, and I'm respectful of that too. So tell us a little bit about your journey, and then what you're, kind of focusing on for 2024.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me back one more time. I started making music is being like 10 years. Um, but
Okay.
was not yeah was not always like 100%. The first 5 years was a bit like in and on. I was doing a bit, then I stopped for a few months and come back again. It was a bit like I wasn't sure what was I doing. But then the last 5 years is when I started getting a bit more serious about it, and putting more of the work, more of the consistency, and then I started releasing music, obviously in smaller labels.
Well, there was a phase you moved when you started taking it serious. I think you said was when you moved from Portugal to the UK. Is that
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
And how long ago
So
was that again?
uh, it's like the 10 years I moved from Portugal to the UK to study music. This is my main thing. I want to go to the UK to learn how to make music. I did it. I went for a few courses, and that time was not Toll Room Academy. It was something else. I did it, and was with a full-time job as well. Obviously, you know what I mean. Going to school was a bit difficult to make music as well. So this was a bit like in and out. And the school at the same time, working at the same time, going home a bit tired, didn't have the time to make music. But then for the last 5 years is when I said, okay, I need to find a way of like managing better the time I have. Is when I start make a lot more music, you know what I mean? Like it's being actually um
One thing that I know from getting to know you that you're, pretty talented at is the sound engineering process of creating a track, the mixing and mastering. Um, I think I even mentioned it to you one time, and maybe I got it a little bit confused, but I'm pretty sure I'm sure you know where it is. There's a live A&R session from Tool Room, and I
yeah,
believe it was Mark, and Mark's like, man, this track's really good. Just need to add a little bit of this, and here, there. But he's like, man,
yeah,
he's like the production of this record is like spot on though, and that means a lot to come from the founder of
yeah,
the label to say that you have good production skills. So was that something that you always wanted to focus on from the
yeah.
beginning, or
This is
yeah?
Yeah, like, and in the beginning I was more focused on like mixing and mastering and getting the sounds right and getting the mixing well, you know what I mean?
Normally it's the other way
Uh,
around, right?
yeah, yeah, I know. In the beginning, I don't know why, I just was more like into that kind of stuff, watching a lot of YouTube tutorials and all of that to learn how. I think the reason why is because like I don't play piano, I don't play, you know what I mean, any instrument, I guess. And then I was start focus more on the technical side of things. Um,
You say you did
Uh,
not, you didn't, you never.
I never,
Wow.
I don't play piano. I have no idea. You know what I mean? Music theory is like almost nothing. And then I think this is where I start focus more on like the production, but the mixing side of things and the mastering side of things. And it's when I learn, I think a bit about it, and then, but that is not enough. Obviously, you need to obviously know how to make a cool hook, and
I gotta ask you, man, because one thing that I've found out quickly here, again in my young career, because like, the fact you've been at this for 10 decades, I mean, I just have a lot of respect for that too. And I know you've got a body of work to show for it, but like, how do you manage? Is there ever a point, I guess, as an artist where you're able to manage all of your work? Or is that just how it is? Because it's art, right? There's just so many ideas and things that you want to do.
yeah.
How do you stay focused, I guess, is my question.
Um, I take a step at a time. You know, like at this moment, I'm working in a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like a lot. I have a lot of collabs going on. I have a lot of my own stuff as well. And I have, I think I will have it here. I have like a notebook when I write everything. So I was like, on Monday, I'm gonna focus and finish this record. On Tuesday, I'm gonna focus to finish the record with you, for example, and stuff like that. Otherwise, you just get lost. You know what I mean? Like it's too much. It's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. I started doing the same. That's the only way I can kind of keep track of what I'm doing is I literally have and I should write it down. It's an iPhone note of
Ah,
like
that's the same. It's the
song
same thing.
ideas
Yeah.
and well hopefully it gets backed up by the cloud if anything happens to my
Exactly. Yeah.
but no, that's cool. I mean, let's talk a little bit about the collab process. And I'm just going to keep kind of seeing it through my eyes as somebody who's newer to this industry, being in tour room, you get exposed to a lot of people who've been working on this for a long time. And so for you to be willing to work on not only one record with me, which I know we feel really good about, and we'll see when that one
Yeah.
gets, we're teasing you guys out on that one. I mean, I'm telling you, it's
Yeah.
good. And there's some other good ones coming too. Um, but how do you put on your filters on asking people if they want to collab or if someone approaches you? Because it's one of those things where you definitely you can't say yes to everything. So
Yeah.
what's your outbound approach for asking people to work with you? And then what's your approach for when someone reaches out and they want to collab with you?
Um, the first thing I check is if we have like a similar sound, let's say, you know what I mean? If we release in the same labels and if we and all of that, I think that is really important. I'm not saying like having a collab with someone that's make a different type of music doesn't work, but I think like collabing with people that releasing the same labels and have similar sounds is really important to have a better track in the end, because then the ideas will be as similar as well, and I think it's easier to work like that. I'm lucky enough because everyone that is coming through asking me to collab is people that release until Rome or on CF2 Records or Who Plays on all these kind of labels, that is labels that I normally release. So I never have someone coming to me and say like, "You want to collab?" And I say, "Not sure how to say no to this."
Sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so far, it's being like everyone is being quite like we are in the same page. Yeah, I think I'm just being lucky.
Do you ever find yourself? I talked about this on the show recently. Actually, I don't think this episode has aired yet. In fact, this will at least this version of our interview will be live before what I'm going to refer to does go out. But is it just me, or does everybody in the tech house music industry that's a producer, do they have like this secret evil, they got the angel and the demon on their shoulder, and everyone has this little demon to make techno? Is that real? Because I
Yeah, I
know I
think
listen to
so.
techno a lot, and I'm like, man, that'd be a lot of fun to make it, but I know I'm not ready to. Do you find yourself tempted by techno?
I do like techno, and I do use techno in my music, especially drums and stuff.
Yeah,
I take a lot of stuff from techno because tech house is a bit like techno, but a bit minimal and a bit more cooler, let's say. You know what I mean?
right.
But yeah, techno is something that I do like, and who knows in the future maybe I
There's
give it a go.
Right. My what I'm thinking is, build out General Moses for build out Costa UK to few 100,000 followers, whatever, and then that's when you make that alter ego name. that's if you're David Guetta, you make Jack Back. If you're Oliver Heldens, you
I'll
make
just make
Milo.
exactly, yeah.
Because yeah, there's something about, you know, a basement at 2 a.m. with just a strobe light. That's
Yeah,
just,
that's true. Yeah.
um, but to your point, and I actually I want to know what brought you to the tech house genre, because I'm sure
Mm,
like if I talk to my average friends and family, they have no idea what that means. I have to just say like house music, and they go, oh, okay, I get
yes,
it.
exactly. Yeah.
But tech house is just such a sweet
Sport.
sub genre, because it's the one genre that I feel like it doesn't matter if you're at a 4-year-old's birthday party. It doesn't matter if you're at the club at 2 a.m. If you're poolside, like it can be applied to like nearly any scenario. I even first fell in love with tech house when I was running a paint store, and I would just put on like Tool Room, and
Yeah.
it works. So that's what drew me into it. Is like, man, this music literally works in any environment I could think of. What brought you to tech house?
Um, was before Tech House, I was into like remember when Hardwell was out there in Swedish House Mafia was there and these big Tomorrowland events. They still are, but in that time was quite a big thing. And I was listening a lot to that stuff. And then I was on YouTube and suddenly I listened to this track from Mark Knight, Your Love. Um,
Wait, really? Was that the first one that you heard
yeah,
by
uh,
really? Bro,
so
that's the same one that got me hooked. Like,
I listened to that. I said, "Whoa, what is this? This is so cool. This is different." You know what I mean? Like because the other thing was like big scenes and a lot of noise, and you know what I mean. It's cool. It's a bit different. And then I listened to this track from Max and said, "This is so cool. This is a bit more cooler, not chill, but you know what I mean. Has the groove is there. You know what I mean? I don't know. Feels a bit different." And then when I find out about Toll Room, obviously he has a label, and from there I just basically been listening a lot of Toolroom stuff and other labels, of course. CF2 was doing tech house as well, and even Defected. And then I started obviously from Toolroom checking other labels like CF2, Defected, and fell in love with that
yeah.
kind of.
Speaking of other labels, actually, I wanna ask you some questions on that, but I also want to back up what you just said. Like, and I can't remember if we talked about that the first time we did our interview, but that was the same record that drew me into the Tool Room circle, and it started going deeper. Was Your Love,
Yeah,
uh, by Mark Knight. Dunna, 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 dunna.
yeah. Was the melody the same thing? You know what I mean?
And it's
And
just
the vocals pitched down was quite cool. Was different as
I
well.
kid you not. Just to back up what I said, I kid you not. I had it on a playlist when I was working at the paint store, and one of my coworkers was like, "Oh, bro, you listen to Mark Knight?" And I was like, "Who?" I was like, "Who?" He's like, "The song, it's by Mark Knight." I'm like, "Who is that?" He's like, "You don't know?" Blah blah blah. And so, like, I was playing that in an environment where if an 80-year-old woman came in to buy paint, it wasn't weird, and yet at the same time, that drop, we'll just keep using the 2 a.m. reference. That drop at 2 a.m. gets the whole dance floor going.
Yeah, it's
Like,
true. Yeah,
I don't know, I'm biased or whatever, but it's crazy. So labels, you definitely know more about labels than I do. I know we've talked a little bit about like getting them in front of different ones, and I'd say I'm lucky to be connected to a few that I think hopefully if we don't get the Tool Room thumbs up, we might have some other cool ones here.
yes.
But you definitely know the game better than I do, because again, I should have known like who has a label, but it's something that I'm just not even thinking of. Like there's a lot of
No.
other artists out there that have big labels. So what are some of the top labels that you like to focus on creating music for? Just because I'm gonna probably be like, yo, I should probably send music to the same labels Costa sending his music to.
um, Oh, that is a good one. It's so many labels. I think obviously one of the labels I always want to release is Affected, but it's like this is a long-term goal. I was lucky enough to release with CF2 Records as well
Which one?
before CF2 Records.
CF2.
CF2, yeah.
Sure, if I see the album, and I'm sure one, if I see the
I'm
album,
sure you,
know it. And two,
I'm sure you know them. Yeah, I'm sure you know them.
some people are watching this shaking their head at me right now.
Obviously, Who was one of them. I managed to get a track
Which,
with them.
oh yeah, congratulations. We didn't even
Thank
highlight
you.
your new record yet. So again,
No,
what
no.
just so before we forget, what's the name of it? So that way people can
Uh,
go listen to it.
Funky Town.
Funky Town, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to get a record with them.
That's big. Congratulations. That's
Thank
big.
you.
Yeah.
Which other labels? Oh my God. No, I'm a bit blocked. Which other labels? Well, it's a label from Flash Mode.
I like his sound a lot, and I could see some
Yeah,
opportunities for you and
I
him.
actually I actually have a EP coming on that label in the summer.
You have something coming out on that label?
Yeah, yeah, I have
Oh, dude,
something coming,
congratulations. Nice.
and
Okay.
and and the summer, I have something with him as well there. Um,
He seems like a good dude. I really like.
yeah, it's a nice guy,
Yeah.
really
Nice.
cool guy. Which other labels? Obviously is a label called Glasgow Underground as well. That is really cool. I would
It's
like
what?
to get some.
Which one?
Glasgow Underground
Gospel
is
on.
yeah. So
Okay.
it's a really cool label. Which other labels? Obviously it's the Armanda as well. They um, is a really
Big
cool
ones. Yeah.
label. Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously slowly moving to the biggest ones like Armanda and even Tomorrowland has a label on these days. So as well, it's quite cool.
Who does?
Tomorrowland, they have a label.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it what's the name of the label?
I think it's Tomorrowland even. I was checking the
That's
other
the
day,
name of
yeah.
the label. That makes sense.
they, they 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 some quite big artists released there, yeah.
Are you it's funny, I mentioned to my coach the other day, like, and it was very casual, but just the idea of like, hey, if I had a record signed by Spinning Records one day, and he was like, dude,
Yeah.
dude, he's like, you don't want to go the EDM direction. I'm like, really? Like, he's like, nah. It's like
But
because it's a little bit like mainstream, but I like to hear, and he, I'll back him up too. He wasn't saying don't do it, but he was
yeah.
like, uh, it can be a little bit commercialized, I guess.
Yeah, it can be, but they have the spinning records deep. I think is something a bit more tech house. Um,
Okay, I have seen
I
Deep.
think so. They have something like that. Yeah.
Is that a noteworthy goal, or is that just me showing like that I'm
No,
a
I think it's perfect. I think moving forward. I think artists are gonna have their own sound, and you have your own sound. And if spinning want to release a label, sorry, a track from you with your own sound, I think it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's nothing wrong with that.
I could see. Well, again, I could kind of see a little bit where he's coming from too, because I think back to when I really first got into house music, and it was much more of like that Martin Garrixy 2013,
Yeah,
which
animals.
yeah, yeah.
The
Which
track
again,
animals. Yeah.
shout out, I'm sure Martin Garrix. If you ever see this interview, dude, I have insane amount of respect for you. But that was just like an era where everything was a little bit, um, I don't know, but like spinning was the only thing that I
Yeah.
knew. And then you
Yes.
go deeper, and you find out there's tech house and all these things. Like, oh wow. So there we go. I now I'm like subconscious or was it self-conscious. I feel like I made my coach look bad. I'm not trying to.
Ah.
When you watch this, dude, we're on the same page. So, anyways, to bring it in for a landing here, I guess what I would like to know is what do you feel like is really your vision for for 2024 for the next few years, because I obviously want to keep getting better. You want to keep growing your audience too, and that's a
Yeah.
big thing. Getting on more stages, getting more gigs is always
Yeah.
important. So, like, what's your plan for growth now and moving forward?
Um, my plan for this year is to release more music. You know what I mean? I think that is super important and release good music, right labels at the right time. I think that is something that I never done before. I was releasing music before, but it was like I release one, then wait for another 4 or 5 months to release the next one. And this year I've been focused like trying to get a release every 6 to 8 weeks, just to keep music coming out and put the main focus being like people know who I am. You know what I mean? Like it's not someone that only releases a song and then stops and then oh he's back again. Look at him. So
Yeah, yeah,
someone that keep releasing music and hopefully is always at the same or better standards. And that hopefully is going to help me to go to the next goal that is obviously start getting gigs. I do have some gigs, but are different, bigger gigs, touring and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully by next year I can start planning
yeah, yeah.
all of that. Yeah,
That's an interesting. point there that I've never thought about, but you're right. Getting a release out every 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I'd say, I mean, that's right around in the sweet spot. Maybe even every 4 weeks, but because you don't want to oversaturate it. But I
Yes,
know
exactly. Yeah.
for me, like I look over the past month. I don't know how many I had come out. It was like 3 or 4, and that's clear.
You
Like
got a few.
by far the most I ever had. And I was like, man, like this is fun. And now I don't have an I have two more coming out, which I have to check with the label. I don't even know when they're coming out, but I don't think it's anytime in the near future. And so
Yeah.
now I kind of feel like empty. Thankfully, I have the podcast and all these other things, and we're working on stuff. But
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. I'm gonna copy that and try and get to like something out every 6 to 8 weeks because
I think 6 to 8 weeks is a nice
it's so, dude, it's
timeline.
so fun. It's so fun
Yeah.
when you're dropping. And I got this from Graham Farmer, who's the data transmission guy.
Ah,
You know,
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know him. Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
spits some good stuff out there. And yeah, he was saying, and now it's gonna slip my mind, but oh wait, no, but basically with social media, and I want to say this marketing lady from Armada said a similar thing. This was on a tool room session that they did, which is like make social media an extension of your art. Like literally, like
Yeah.
treat it like art, treat it like making music. It'll make it way better than being like, oh, I have to like do X, Y, and Z. So someone who I just gave a shout out on the show recently for making his social media really like art, and I'm sure you've seen his highlights before, is James Hype. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, the guy is,
as far as
yeah.
someone who like,
His
his music,
social media is really good. Yeah.
yeah, right,
Well,
like
his music as well, but the way how he did it with the social media together with his music was a genius. Was a genius move.
it's a form of art worthy of
Yeah.
being modeled. I'm sure at this point he has a team kind of helping him out with it too, but man,
Yeah.
like if you can just do a fraction of what he's doing, I think that's a smart move. So anyways, Costa, thank you for investing your most valuable time with us
It's
here today on the show.
pleasure having here with you, man.
Dude,
Anytime.
yeah, absolutely. Great hanging out with you. I know we're gonna be like probably DMing right after this, but
Yeah.
anyways, let everyone know what's the best place to follow up and get in touch with you, check out your music, all that good stuff.
Instagram, Costa UK Music, obviously Spotify, Apple Music, Costa UK,
There you
best
go.
places. And if you want to grab a copy and play it out, Beatport.
And I thought you said if you want to grab a coffee with him. I'll say this too. This goes for everyone out there. If you are a listener of music, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're producing
Yeah,
music. Take as many videos of you can as you can of you listening to an artist's music in public and send it to them.
yeah, fuck.
Like it's freaking. I mean, I don't know. I'm early on here, but I feel like that's gold. It's been something that I've really enjoyed. Is like other people showing me like them listening to it. So if you go check out Costa's music and send him a video of you
Yeah, that's
do it or something.
yeah.
Cool. All right, guys, you rock. This is Dream Chasers with General Moses, our first official interview as your home for house music. We'll get that down here soon. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, and all you think, say, and do, take it to the next level.